All right, today we're talking to a woman who decided to sell her business as an employee ownership trust. There's only 50 of these types of businesses in the United States, so you've probably never heard of it before. Her name is Miren Oca, and I'm going to tell you all about her in a second, so stay tuned.
Welcome to the Smart Business Revolution podcast, where we feature top entrepreneurs, business leaders, and thought leaders and ask them how they built key relationships to get where they are today. Now, let's get started with the show.
All right, welcome everyone. John Corcoran here. I am the host of this show, and each week I get to talk to interesting entrepreneurs, CEOs, founders from all kinds of companies. We've had Netflix and Grubhub, Redfin, Gusto, Kinko's, YPO, EO, Activation Blizzard. Check out the archives. Lots of great episodes for you there. And of course, this episode brought to you by Rise 25, my company where we help B2B businesses to get clients, referrals, and strategic partnerships with Done For You podcasts and content marketing. And you can learn more about what we do by going to rise25.com or emailing us at support@rise25.com. And I want to introduce today's guest today, who I know through the Entrepreneurial Masters program, who we have been in together for the last couple of years. Her name is Miren Oca. She is the founder and director of Ocaquatics Swim School. She has a great, interesting story. Started this business about 30 plus years ago now and built it up to 5 different locations at about 165 employees. And it's 100% employee owned now, which happened earlier this year. So we're going to hear that story of why she chose that particular format for selling her business, because there's lots of different things you can do with your business, and she chose that one intentionally. So that's going to be an interesting episode. And they do about 6,500 swim lessons per week during the high season. Miren, so excited to have you here today. And I love to hear about people's backgrounds and how they got started, how they got exposed to entrepreneurship. Many of my guests had no exposure to entrepreneurship as a kid. You grew up in an entrepreneurial family. Mom was from Cuba, dad was from Spain, and they had restaurants. And so you kind of got to see that up close and personal. And you knew you'd never go into business after that, didn't you? Because of how hard it seemed. But it's kind of funny how the path led you in a different direction. So tell me, what was that like growing up as a kid and observing your parents running these restaurants?
Oh, well, I think it was really interesting. I got a front row seat to seeing what running a business was all about. My parents were immigrants. They ended up in Louisiana owning a couple of restaurants. And I saw, amazing food, really, really, truly amazing food. They were restaurants where people came to share their special moments, to have that special meal. And that was a really great part of it. I loved that part of the business. But behind the scenes, I saw how hard my parents worked. I saw the struggle. I saw taxes. I saw, challenges with team members. And I thought, gosh, I'm not sure I want to do this sort of thing. I did teach swimming lessons and I did have my little babysitting business and things like that. So I liked business, but I just didn't think that it was going to be for me in the end, because of what I saw them go through. So, you and I were talking earlier. I went to Tulane University. I was getting my degree in biochemistry. I was going to go to med school and become an orthopedic surgeon. That was my life's dream. And then, at 19, I found out I was pregnant and I had to take a little detour. So
sent you in a different direction. You end up coming
absolutely.
back from Tulane back to Miami where your family was.
Mhm.
And what was that like the first couple years leaving college, coming back to Miami, having a baby to raise on your own?
Yes. Well, it was a struggle. It was really great because I was young. I was a young mom and I had a lot of energy, but it was also, it was one of those difficult times. And I do remember the struggle and I remember, a challenge to make ends meet. I did try a couple of different jobs, but in the end, I just thought, let me go back to what I know how to do and let me keep teaching swimming lessons. And
Yeah.
so in February of 1994, I was 22 years old. My son was almost 2. He was about to turn 2 on March 4th, and I'd opened my swim school. And
Mm.
I went to homes. I went to backyard homes. I taught swimming lessons everywhere to anyone who needed swimming lessons in Miami. It's a necessary life skill because
There's
of the
pools
water.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
water
grew up
safety.
in LA and every home
Absolutely.
has a pool in the backyard. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it really is necessary life skill, especially for families with young children at home. So I did a lot of home swimming lessons. And then one day I ran across a little hotel and I talked to them and said, can I use your pool and teach swimming lessons? And in exchange, I bartered with them. I taught their family swimming lessons and I taught their guest swimming lessons. And that launched my career. I decided, okay, well, let me actually hire somebody to help. And, then I got another little pool and then I got another little pool and hired some more people. And it just started growing organically, little by little. But the more I did it, the more I realized I really, really liked teaching swimming lessons, but I really, really liked also hiring people and kind of building my little team and, just kind of growing this business. It was
Yeah.
really fun.
If
Of course,
if you
yeah.
compare that, I was
Mhm.
talking with someone else who's in the restaurant business the other day about how difficult restaurant businesses in particular are. Think of all the different things. You have people issues, you have a product, you have a product that people are consuming, so you
Yes.
could poison people if it's like worst case scenario, you could kill someone, right? If they have an allergic reaction. But then you have all these different issues, you're managing people and timing and the food and the product has to be really good and it has to be great night after night after night. And if you get it
Right.
wrong one night, some person goes and writes a bad review online and, it can ruin things for you. Um, Swim schools is also involves people. You have to hire people, you have to get clients and things like that. You're not dealing with a product. The consequences are high if something goes
Mhm.
wrong, right?
Absolutely.
So kind
Yes.
of compare those two and why you think you were attracted to the swim school so much more.
I grew up in high school as a swimmer. I taught swimming lessons through high school and college. I really loved, what we were doing with children. I really loved working with children. And then also just providing this necessary life skill. Like we save lives by the work that we do. I think running a restaurant is amazing, but it is very hard. Like when I go to restaurants now, I know what's happening behind the scenes. It is a very, very, it's hard work and it's a perishable product, so if
Yeah.
you're not moving it fast enough, it really is tough. But
Yeah.
it is hospitality. Restaurant business is all about hospitality. And I think swim schools are all about hospitality. It's all about service and providing a service. And so I really do feel like there are a lot of parallels. It's interesting that you asked that question because I think there are a lot of parallels between restaurant and swim schools because of taking care and serving people. And it's not just serving your clientele and your customers, but it's also serving the team members who work with you. Because if you don't take care of them, you cannot expect them to go out and take care of the customers. So
Yeah.
we really do spend a lot of time, working and leading and growing and mentoring and coaching our team members because they're the ones who make the magic happen.
And was for you, did you find yourself getting out of the pool quicker over time or was it an overnight thing? Was it a gradual thing?
Yes.
Are you still in the pool these days or
No, I'm
has it been years
not.
since you've been in the pool?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's really funny. So kind of rewind again. My son and I used to spend a lot. I did not know a lot about business, so we'd spend a lot of time in bookstores reading. And I ran across the E-Myth. Um, and
Classic. Yeah. Michael
yes,
Gerber. Hmm.
absolutely. And one of those, and it was work on your business, not in your business. Work on your business, not in your business, and kind of design it, systemize it, pretend it's a franchise. So you could put every system in writing so that somebody else could help you with it. And I really started to do that a lot. And that helped me, grow the business and realize I couldn't grow the business if I was in the water teaching every single lesson. I love teaching swimming. I love teaching babies. And I did teach babies for a long time. But then I moved more towards teaching teachers
Mm.
and that was what I did. And then I moved to teaching managers. And so I think now I still have a role in that. I run our manager and training program. I do ongoing manager development. But it is very far removed, from the days when I did every single lesson that was taught at Ocaquatics.
And
So
yet you still enjoy it.
I
Because
do because
what
I love it.
the
Yes.
classic case from the E Myth is that the baker I think is the character in that
Yes.
who gets they start a bakery because they love baking pies and then
Right.
all of a sudden they find they're not baking pies anymore and they
Right.
don't and they hate it.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. Absolutely, absolutely. And by doing our ongoing manager development programs, I get to keep, I'm still close to it. I get to see what they're doing, and I also get to help continue to develop and build the strong culture because we have an amazing culture at Oak Aquatics. especially around servant leadership, especially around relationships. So, by doing those programs, I can just continue to model that, develop that, build that. So
Now, you built your schools around Miami, and
yes.
around the mid 2000s, you kind of got tired of the unpredictable weather, which for those who are in the Northeast or in the Midwest or something like that, they probably are laughing at that because they have some worse weather. But Miami, South Florida, can have some unpredictable weather,
Thunderstorms every
thunderstorms and things.
afternoon in the summertime. Yes.
Exactly. So that's a challenge. So you decide to explore the idea of actually constructing your own indoor swimming facility, which must have been an amazing leap of faith at
Yes.
that point in time. Tell us about what that was like.
Oh, it was an incredible challenge, but I knew that if I really wanted to grow the business, that would be the next step. Before that, I was kind of growing my empire on sand because
Mm,
I would lease a little hotel pool or a country club pool, and we would grow and grow and grow, and then we'd get kicked out.
mm.
And that was as we got too big, they would kick us out. So I really needed to have my own pool. And so I looked and looked and looked. I knew every single street in Miami, every single property that was available. And I finally found a landlord that would allow me to do an interior renovation and put a pool inside of his warehouse.
Wow.
And
So you didn't
yeah,
own it. So you built
I
it.
didn't.
You
I
built
did
a
not
pool
own it.
inside of a warehouse.
I did. I
That
did. That
does
was
not
our
sound
first.
cheap.
No, that was our first pool.
Yeah.
And we're still there. We're still in that
Mm.
location today. And it's great. It's still doing amazing. It opened in July of 2009.
So you were doing this during the whole economic downturn, '08.
Yes,
Yeah.
I signed the lease in December of 2007, and that's how long it took me to get open
So
to do the
during that period of
construction.
time, throughout
Yeah.
'08, there must have been some people who turned to you and said, "What are you doing here? This is crazy. You're trying to expand your business in the midst of this massive economic downturn."
Yes, a lot of people actually said that. It was hard. I mean, it was really hard. I couldn't get bank financing. So I mortgaged my house and I maxed out every credit card. And
Wow.
looking back on it, you take a lot of risks, but I really did think that it would work. It was going to work. And I did have a lot of people who thought I was crazy. I also had a lot of people, it's really interesting because this was, 15 years ago or so, who would come to the building when I was interviewing contractors or subcontractors, and they would come into the building and look at me and say, okay, well, who is going to make the decision for this job? Who's the man behind this project? And that was really hard doing a construction project in Miami in 2008. It
A
was
lot
really a
of
challenge.
a lot of
Yeah,
sexism
it
in
was. It was
with the construction people. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we got open, and honestly, we got open and we did great. It grew and grew and grew and grew and grew, and it grew really quickly. And one
What
day,
why do you think that was? Was it because of having the pool, the controlling the facility, the
yes,
experience? Was it just the consistency and not lack of unpredictability that you had
yes,
to deal with before?
our pools are pretty beautiful. They're pretty nice. They're 90-degree water. They're 86-degree
Oh,
air temperature.
oh,
They're
that sounds nice.
58% humidity. Like it's a
Yeah.
completely controlled environment, no matter
Yeah.
what's happening outside.
Yeah.
And when you've got weather issues here, and the weather issues are, wind and rain usually.
Yeah.
However, in the winter of Miami, and I'm doing that in air quotes, if it drops to 65 degrees here, people
You don't want to
suddenly
get in the
think
pool.
it's
Yeah.
too cold to be outside.
And
So
people are canceling their lesson, right?
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
now we suddenly turned this business into a year-round business where people thought it's great to swim year-round. In fact, we feel the best time to swim is the 9 months of the school year, and then take the summer off so you can go and play and hang out and practice in your own backyard. But children should be swimming during the academic year so that they're
Mm.
ready during swim season in the summertime.
From a business perspective, that's interesting because that builds in some seasonality into
It
your
does.
business. How do you plan for that as a business owner?
Well, at the beginning, when we first opened, people still had in their mind that swimming is for summer, swimming's for summer. So we had to do a lot of education to our parents and our
Oh, so it's
families.
the opposite kind of seasonality. You
Yeah.
had people that
So
weren't doing lessons during the school year.
right. So
Oh,
now we
okay.
have to say no, but now you can swim year round.
Mm,
And the best time to swim is in the off season because you
mm,
really can. It's calmer, it's quieter, but
yeah.
also you get your children ready for the swim season.
Yeah.
So we had to do a lot of education. I do think now we still see a little bit of seasonal
Mm,
fluctuations. However, a lot more people are now educated, and they realize that swimming is one of those it's a lifelong skill.
Yeah.
You really want your children comfortable. You want them to be able to swim very well, because when they're 16 and they're on the boat with their friends and they fall into the water, you want to make sure that they're very, very good swimmers. This is the only sport that can save their life. And so there's water everywhere here in Miami. So we
Yeah.
really want to make sure that our children are really strong swimmers.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe karate too. If you get beat up,
Might,
if
might
you get
be, maybe.
cornered in a dark alley or something like that, that can maybe save your
You're
life
right.
too.
You're right. However,
That's two sports.
yes,
So, and at some point you became a certified B Corp.
we did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk about the process behind that and the decision
Sure.
behind that.
So, we've always been this business that, I was a single mother. I had this special spot in my heart for single moms, or for the community, or for helping people, in the community, in our swim school. And so we have always had a twofold mission. Of course, we make families safer around the water. That's one of our parts of our mission. But the other part of our mission is to teach our team members under this umbrella of environmental and social responsibility, so that we can grow the business and make a bigger impact in the world. And so we always worked on Habitat for Humanity homes, and we did community cleanups, and we did beach cleanups, and we did all these food drives and toy drives, all those things. And we thought, wow, we're doing something really great for the community. And we thought, well, one day we found the B Impact Assessment, which is the assessment that's put out by B Lab that certifies companies to become B Corps. And so we did the assessment. It's a completely free tool. And we did the assessment because we wanted to measure how well we're doing our impact. And we didn't score as well as we thought.
Hmm.
And the B Impact Assessment really gave us the opportunity to learn, A, what we could do better, how we could improve, and then B, like how much more we still could do as a business, trying to use business as a force for good. So we worked on it. We continued to improve, and we did achieve B Corp certification. And we were actually the first swim school on the planet to become B Corp certified. So we were pretty pleased with that.
Hmm.
Since then, there's another school in Canada that has gotten B Corp certification, and also one in the UK. So now there are three, and we just want to see more companies understand that business can be more than just shareholder profits. It really can be a positive force for their team members, their customers, their community, the planet. And that's what being a B Corp is all about.
And how did that change things after you got that certification in terms of communication with your team, with prospective employees, with customers, parents that you were working with?
Yes, we talk about B Corp certification all the time. We really like that. But there are not many B Corps in Miami. So I don't know if our customers are choosing us because we're B Corp, but what they're doing is, because we're B Corp, our team members, we're educating our team members about it. They're really excited. The group we're working with really want to work for a company that's making a difference in the world. And they want to be able to help families be safer around the water, while also doing all of this environmental work and these social projects that we do. And so they're happier. We have above industry retention rates when it comes to team members. And so they stay longer. And then our customers are happier because our team members are staying longer. So that leads to a healthier bottom line, So, so indirectly, B Corp certification is really helping us actually do better.
Yeah.
But I can't wait until parents are making choices to come to us because we are a certified B Corporation, and they know that means that we are a responsible company. So, and I think that time is coming. I know that time is coming in different parts of the US.
Yeah.
In California, there are a lot more B Corps, and Colorado. And so I think that time is coming.
So you built the first pool, indoor pool. You said it took about a year and a half to build. And
Yes.
I'm kind of fascinated by businesses that have to, a smaller part of their process suddenly has to become routinized. There comes a process around it. So at your core, you are a swim school, but you've built 5 pools now, so you have to get better at that. And you found that you got better at it, and you were able to build them quicker. To talk to me a little bit about from the first pool to the last pool that you built. You built 5 of them, five indoor pools. what you learned and what it was like building the last pool of those five, and how you got better at managing that process, which is ancillary to the core of what you do, which is swim lessons.
Right. I think I got a better team. For the people that I used to build the first pool, I didn't know what I was doing. I had no idea. But I learned a lot. And then the second one, I learned a lot more. And then I found a contractor I really liked. And now they're our go-to. Like, honestly, we have a contract down to build a sixth location right now. And we're still under contract, under negotiations. But he's my go-to. We go to the same contractors, the same subs. We're using a lot of the same people who know how we build, what kind of product we like. Because we spend a lot on our pools, more than most people do. This is a small thing, but not really a small thing. So water in the state of Florida is supposed to go through filters in a pool every 6 hours.
Mm.
And ours goes through the filter every 90 minutes.
Mm.
So we have UV sanitation, ultraviolet light zaps all the water before it goes back to the pool. We have, we use less chlorine. We do have all these sophisticated systems that most pools don't do those sorts of things. So we're really finding those vendors that want to work the way we do, that understand that we really do have a lot of pride in our pools, and they work really hard to help us have the best pools in Miami. So we've learned a lot.
Yeah.
And so, as we built them, it's been a learning curve every time. You learn how to do things differently. You learn how to manage classes more efficiently, things like that. So
Yeah.
I think the sixth one's going to be even better.
In March of 2020,
Yes.
COVID hits.
Yes.
And you are, by the very nature of it, a business that kind of requires you to be up close with your customer base, which is young kids. What was that like for you, and what was going through your head as that started to unfold?
Yeah, COVID was really difficult for our industry. As imagined, and from one day to the next, we had to shut down the business, and we were closed for 3 months. And what that meant was, what we did, we had about 100 and almost 150 team members at that point, and we had to furlough basically 100 part-timers. We just had all of our part-timers. We told them, we can't keep you on right now because we weren't open, but we did manage to keep our full-timers on for a little while, just while we were figuring things out. And then eventually we had to keep scaling back until we could get PPP. We did get a PPP loan. And it was one of those things where we worked on, we couldn't go to the pools, and we could not work as we normally worked. So we did professional development. We did personal development. We did training classes online for all of our staff. We did mental health, opportunities where we could talk to each other and make sure, because that was a tough time.
Yeah.
There were a lot of times I just wanted to curl up in a fetal position behind my desk and not get up. It was a really, really tough time. So we spent a lot of time really nurturing our team, making sure they felt cared for, but also that they were learning, so that the second we could open, we would get back to it.
And what was reopening like for you? Because every business was different. Some businesses it was like a rocket ship. Others it was starts and stops.
Very slow going, because we could only do private lessons, and that we had to have like patterns in our building where people could walk this way and out the other door. And all of our teachers were in shields. We had to design these plastic shields that they had to wear in the water. Eventually, they let us put 2 children in a class. And then we had 2 children with a teacher. And then little by little, we could start adding a third child if the children were swimming far apart from each other, different things like that. So it was really slow going to get back into it. However, the team, so many people had a really difficult time bringing their team back once they reopened. And we didn't. We probably had 98% of our staff report back to work as soon as we reopened. And that was pretty tremendous. And I think it was because we took care of them. We wanted to make sure that they felt cared for, more than just trying to keep them or hold on to them, but to make sure, that they it really was such an odd, unusual, difficult time. Nobody knew what was happening. So
Right.
we really wanted to be there for each other. And I think that they showed us that that they felt cared for by coming back.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So 4 years after that, in February of 2024, you celebrated 30 years, I believe,
Yes,
right,
yes, we did.
of this business. And you celebrated by selling the business to your employees.
Yes.
First, before we get to the structure that you chose, was there something that motivated that? Why did
Mhm.
you decide that it was time to sell?
Well, about 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago, people started approaching us. Private equity was starting to come online and starting to say, wow, this is a great business model. And this is an opportunity to get into a different industry. And so, I didn't even know what PE meant the first time I spoke to one of these companies. But it started to help me come to, I need to think of some sort of succession plan. So, of course, I went to my son first. And, he's the one who changed the path of my life. And I went to him and asked him if he wanted the business. He has chlorine in his blood. He was born, he grew up around it. He really liked that we were a B Corp. He really liked all of the social and environmental responsibility part of our job, of our business, but he wanted to do his own business. So he said no. And then it was hard for me, but that helped me realize I wanted to get it into the hands of my employees because they
Mm,
really were the ones who were super passionate. Private equity was out there very, very hungry for it, but I wasn't sure they were going to be as values aligned or as mission driven as I really wanted them to be, because I know I saw what was happening to some of my friends. So I did do a lot of research. I looked at co-ops, just trying to get into the hands of my employees. It wasn't a good option. I looked at ESOPs, employee stock ownership plans. And we were going to be an ESOP. I hired an attorney. I did evaluation. I did feasibility studies. We were on the path. And then I found out that ESOPs could be sold to private equity.
ah,
So somebody told me, why don't you look at EOTs? It's primary source of ownership in the United Kingdom. Why don't you look at that? And so I did. And I started talking to EOTs in the US, and there are very few of them. But
why do you think that is? There's so few in the U.S.
I think it's just the best kept secret. I really do think that it's newer, but it's coming online. There are a lot, like since we've started, I know of probably 20 companies that
Mm.
have turned into EOTs. So I think it's just people don't know about it. My accountant didn't know about it. My attorney didn't know about it. I really had to do a lot of research and I had to educate a lot of people.
And
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 now,
and
yep.
other than the fact that a ESOP could be sold to private equity, what are some other advantages to it?
So I love that the trust. I sold to a trust. So I designed the trust and I
Mm,
designed it whatever way I would like this business to stay. So I really would like it to strive to maintain B Corp certification. I
mm,
would really like it to strive to become, to maintain its conscious capitalism membership, 1% for the planet partnership, all the things that we currently do. I want to take care of our team members as we currently do. I want to, divide our profit a certain way by our team members. I was able to decide who's going to become an owner.
mm.
And ownership at Ocaquatics means you have worked 2,500 hours. Once you work 2,500 hours, you're a co-owner. And so you can get that by working full time. You can get that by working part time. And we do have part time co owners that have just worked with us for 6 years, 8 years, a couple shifts a week. And now they're co owners. And I think that was really cool for me because they're the ones who have to help build this business. They are the ones who make this magic happen. So
Yeah.
um, I really wanted to reward those that had helped grow the business.
So you decide on this format. Do you have
Uh-huh.
to then turn around and sell your team on the idea behind it? Like, what was
Well,
that like? You turn
yeah.
to the team and be like, guess what? I'm going to sell the business. You guys want to buy it? What do you say? I mean, how does that conversation work?
So it's funny. I only told three people: our operations manager, our financial manager, and someone in our business who helps us, like bookkeeping, it's because we had to put all the financial reports together and everything for the transaction. It's an M&A transaction, so we still had to do everything. So I March 1st, I transacted, but they did not know it. March 3rd, I actually brought everybody together and we had a dinner. And I said, I want to talk to everybody about something really important. And we had a dinner at one of the locations. They all thought we were going to announce that we were opening a sixth location.
Uh-huh.
And I told them, we went through the history of Ocaquatics and everything. And then I told them that private equity has really been talking to us a lot. And I told them I had decided to sell the company.
Wait, hold on.
And
What are their faces looking like at this
well,
point, you
I
know?
have it on video and it's pretty tremendous. They were all like, how could you do that? And then I told them, we had a big screen and I put employee ownership trust. And I said, but I sold it to an employee ownership trust. And then they were still like,
What
okay,
is that?
explained what it was
Yeah,
and
yeah.
still okay.
And
Getting
it's at a
better.
dinner. So are they a couple
Yeah.
of glasses of wine in
No,
here? No,
no, no,
okay,
no.
all right.
We
It's
don't
okay.
serve alcohol at our dinners because our team is so young.
Okay. All
But
right.
but
That could make it a
they
little messy.
yes, it could have, but no, they were getting it, and there's no liability for them. They don't have to buy in. The trust owns the company. They are beneficiaries of the trust. So they
So if they
don't
don't
have
have to
to,
buy in, are you worried about them having ownership stake in it or taking
yes.
it as seriously? Do you know what I mean?
Well, for the last couple of years, before we ever transacted, one of our guiding principles has been ownership thinking and having an
Mm,
ownership mindset. And we talked about it all the time. Well, you messed up, own it, fix it, move on, and we'd had open book management for 2 years with our
mm.
managers. So they understood P&Ls and they were looking at these things. And we just talked about own it, own it, own it so much that when we actually said, well, now you really own it, like now this is big, it really started. It was slow going, but as we educated them, the next day we had a lunch and learn on financials, that what it meant and what it looked like and the projections and the company or the trust is buying the company from,
You.
me basically, but out of the cash flow of the company. So every month I get a note payment. I chose to do seller financing.
Mm,
I could have gone to a bank and gotten about 40%, but I
mm.
chose to do seller financing.
Okay.
And now they're learning what it means to pay interest on these notes and what's deductible, what's not deductible, where they're learning all these sorts of things. And they have it has just been tremendous to see how they've responded.
And
They
how,
were,
what are their, you have about 50 owners now, is that right?
yes, we do.
So how do they make decisions, or are all the decision making made by you or a leadership team, or how does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question because, a lot of people say, oh my gosh, what changed? And
Yeah.
I say, oh, everything changed. But really, nothing changed. So everything changed in the ownership structure, but nothing changed in how we run the business. And I'm still the CEO. We still have our leadership team. We still have like our executive team. We still make those decisions. But for years, we've always gone to our team for feedback. So we're very transparent with open book management. We really do give them a lot of opportunities to give us ideas because frankly, they give us the best ideas. So we
Hmm.
want to hear from them. When we were making decisions this year about how much to raise wages or to wait till the end of the year and just have more profit distributed, they chose to raise wages, which was what I would have chosen to do had I owned it as well, which I was really pleased to see. Um, but we do give them opportunities to talk through decisions with us and to help guide those decisions. And then also, it's really, I'm still the trust protector. So I still have, and then, we're forming a board now. And so ultimately, as this progresses, the board will have more opportunity to help make decisions. We will have employee representation on the board. So we're setting all of that up now.
It sounds like something where you need to have some ongoing guidance
Mhm.
from professionals, from attorneys and
Yes.
CPAs and things like that to kind of guide you through where the rubber meets the road with all of
Yes.
this. Yeah.
And now we've met some really great professionals that are working in this space, and they're really working to help spread the word about this because it is such a it's a great alternative to succession planning. It is really I just think
Yeah.
that everybody should consider it, even if just put everything on the table so that you
Yeah.
really make a good choice when you're
What
deciding what to do with your business.
I want to ask about the emotional experience for you
Yes.
this year,
Hmm.
both celebrating 30 years in business, um, and also this experience of selling the business, and you're still CEO, but you're not the sole owner anymore. What has
Right.
been like for you emotionally?
A lot of people that I've spoken to before the transaction, I was a little worried because so many people had kind of seller's remorse, or they felt
You
this,
do hear it a
oh,
lot. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
do. You hear
Hmm.
about that a lot. And I think, I mean, honestly, the night that I told them while you were sleeping on March 1st, you became an owner of Ocaquatics Swim School.
Mm.
And I threw my hands up in the air and I felt like the secret's out. I'm so excited. Like, this is so amazing. And I really haven't had I have not had that remorse at all.
Hmm.
I
Mm.
have felt so good about what I chose to do because I did so much research before. I mean, it was
Mm.
years of research in the
Mm.
different models. I really feel like this is probably the number one biggest, but also the best decision of my professional life. I'm really excited to get this into the hands of my employees. And one of the main reasons is Miami is one of those towns, and you live in one of these communities as well, where you can work very hard and do very well and live very well. And you can also work very, 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 very hard and have 8 people living in a 2-bedroom apartment paying several $1,000s a month in rent.
Hmm.
And I know Miami, there is a huge wealth gap. And I think that this will help, at least my little community at Oak Aquatics. It'll
Hmm.
really help close some of that wealth gap, and it'll help them be able to get into homes, and it'll help them be able to send kids to college. And I'm excited by that. I mean, that is
Yeah.
just super fulfilling and satisfying to me.
Yeah.
So
It's great to have that driving you.
absolutely.
So probably another big milestone will be you deciding to step down as CEO and have someone
Yes.
else taking over.
Yes.
What's your timeline for that?
I don't know yet. Right now, honestly, things are going really well. I have been doing less since we did the transaction. I'm doing less and less and less because the team is just stepping up. They are just doing amazing. And our exec team, we call them the lead team. They're rocking and rolling. I mean, it is going very, very well. So I'm just pleased to see that this is going really well, and I'm just kind of watching, gauging it. But I've had some extra time, and now I actually opened a nonprofit this year. I didn't think I would be doing that this year at all, but I had the time, so I started that. And I've been starting to work on some other projects. Some people have been wanting to learn more about what we did and how we transacted the EOT process, and so I've been talking a little bit more about that. So it's giving me time to do other things, and I'm not sure. I haven't made that decision yet, how long I'm gonna be in this seat.
You can go out there and be an advocate for the employee ownership
I
trust
would love that.
format.
It's
Yeah,
my
that's
new
cool.
favorite topic. It
That's
really
cool.
is. So,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Miren, as you look back over your career, your journey, um, who are you grateful to? Who's some people, any peers and contemporaries, any mentors that you would want to
Mhm.
shout out and thank for everything they've done for you?
Yes. Well, I mean, I know, and we always thank our family and we always thank our teams, and I think that that's who comes to mind first and foremost. But I also do, you and I are in EO, an entrepreneurs organization, and I do think that I owe so much to my forum because I remember when I was going through this decision and nobody knew what this meant and what it was. And I remember doing a presentation on retreat actually, and putting everything on big post-it notes all over the walls of this retreat house that we had, and just going through the details and talking through it. And the questions they asked and the way they helped me really understand, it's really interesting because I really remember back to that time and I did not know what I was going to be doing, but they really helped me focus my thinking on what I really wanted to do. So my EO forum, 8 is great. We have a really great group, and I owe them so much. So I am very, very grateful to them.
Miren, this has been great. Where can people go to learn more about you and Oca Aquatics?
So Oak Aquatics on Instagram. You can follow us on Instagram. We would love that. And then also I'm on LinkedIn. Super easy to find me there. And I would love to connect with people.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thanks for listening to the Smart Business Revolution podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.